feels like the draft.
Draft beat, draft beat, draft beat, draft beat. Draft beat, draft beat, draft beat, draft beat. Draft beat, draft beat, draft beat, draft beat. Draft, draft, draft. Draft beat, draft beat, draft beat, draft beat. Draft beat, draft beat, draft beat, draft beat. Draft beat, draft beat, draft beat, draft beat.
It feels like the draft, 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 draft.
All right, G's gonna kill me. I'm gonna play the real one.
It feels like Miami.
Miami, 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 Miami.
It feels like Miami.
Welcome to the Heat Beat Podcast. I'm your host, Franky G, tonight. No, G, 2 nights, because G is taking the day off. Just like Jimmy Butler, Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo, even fucking Alec Burks got the day off tonight. But we're here because we are sickos. Sickos in the chat, say what's up. Thank you guys for joining us today. My co-host, Mr. Saucy Takes, Lou, how you doing today?
Man, shit, vibes are high, man. Vibes are high, Frankie. Vibes are just high.
Absolutely. Tor Miami in the chat says he watched a preseason game featuring some dude named Warren Washington. He is a sicko, certified sicko alert. Freed Jovic on offense. Carlos, you have my heart right here. Let's get right into it. Heat win 114-109. As I mentioned, most of the starters, most of the rotation guys didn't play outside of Highsmith, Jovic, probably Drew Smith, unfortunately. And thankfully, I hope we never see Thomas Bryant again, unless we face Zach Edey, because that Thomas Bryant, that's the only guy in the league he can guard.
It's the only guy who can't move quick enough to get around him. He was just taking him to the chest.
He's like boom, 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 and bro, they got chippy too. There was a possession at the end there where they were the camera cut off at the end, but they were like pushing each other and they got locked up there. I was like, ooh, let's see, hit him like a Jose Alvarado. Yeah, the Drew Smith turnover, bro, it was so funny. But man, let's get into the game. He win, obviously. What did you like from I want to start off with my guy, Niko Jovic. He's had a tremendous preseason. But I feel like today was like his showcase game, honestly.
No, yeah. As soon as I don't think we got word, but as soon as Jaime wasn't in the starting lineup and we saw who the starters were, I was curious why he was out there. And if you watch this game alongside the other people that he put out there, you're still curious why he was out there, because he was just that much better. Like, he was the best player on the floor for the Miami Heat today. And it wasn't even close, Frankie. Like, he was fucking sensational, man. Like, at some point, there has to be a ceiling on this kid. But he just keeps, you know what he plays like? He plays like a my 2K player on fucking when you play the fucking GM mode, and he has A+ potential, and every year it's like +8 overall, +8 overall, +8. Like, at some point, like, he's got to like even out, but he just doesn't, man. His processing, his body, like, I mean, I'm sure we're going to talk about some of the plays he made today, but my goodness, like, that's why my thing says pay that kid, because if you wait, he's going to get expensive. You have to pay this man as soon as he's fucking eligible. Give him the fucking money.
Absolutely. Yeah. You might be able to get a discount right now. I just want to point like how young Niko is. Niko was 17 days old when Dwayne Wade was drafted. Like that, he is a youngin. And man, the ceiling's so high on him. I've been a fan since since I covered him in the draft. So happy to see him get the opportunity, man. Taking guys off the dribble, finishing in traffic. That's been one of the things we wanted to see in the post-ups. We were talking a little bit about how his post-game recognition, when he saw the help, moving the ball perfectly to the weak side, right in the pocket. He took jaw off the dribble, got an and one layup at the cup. Like, who is this guy?
Yeah, he did that with no time left. He looked up 5 seconds after he'd been pushed out beyond the 3-point line and he didn't back him down. Like
No.
it wasn't a post up and he was able to get to the rim. Like he dribbled his way in there with physicality, got to the cup, finished. And like you said, man, the most impressive thing Niko has is like we give credit, like let's give credit to you know the Heat and just in general, like their 5-out spacing and some of the innovations on offense. But I think he's truly the one who makes this work because him as a connective playmaker is so fucking incredible. He makes everybody's job easier while like at the same on both ends of the court, because even defensively he's shown a lot of flashes, but offensively he just knows when to make the right pass, when to get off the ball, where to pass it. And now adding this element of him getting into the post against smaller matchups, and as soon as the help comes, he gets that from his Serbian Olympic teammate Jokic. At this point, who fucking knows who's who, man? Like his passing is so incredible out of these circumstances. And, you know, he doesn't even have to get the assist, but he just lets guys get into more comfortable spots off of his hockey assist or off of him passing when the defense is still trying to rotate to him and bring two to the bar, bring three, or get set. Like his timing is fucking pristine on these fucking plays, man.
Bro, and I'm gonna play it here in case you guys missed this, man. Like, look at Ja pressuring him above the break in the 3-point line, gets through traffic, and the help and the and one. And here's another one, big time, pushes Scottie Pippen Jr. And in front of Edie, just goes right through him, gets the tough finish, one going right, one going left, like. This is strong, man. He only played 14 minutes today, which was more than enough. He 11 points, strong showing from the young man, your boy Pete Larson over there, almost busted his ass at the end. But let's get into Pete. Not his strongest showing, but still team high plus 21. Had a horrible shooting performance, but you know filled up the box score, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals. A plus 21, that's an important number for role players, and he's the only one that was a plus in double figures. Talk about your boy Pete, and right before we get into that, I told you and Moose that I had a surprise for you guys. Pete and Pete,
let's go. This is why I'm here.
This is why. Shout out to Leche's Agenda for hooking this Photoshop on. Why is your forehead shaped like this in this picture, bro? I feel so bad for you.
He didn't even send me this one. Leches, how could you? Leches, how could you?
That's gonna be my Avi on Twitter.
Oh my god, I fucking love it, man.
Bro, I was literally crying when I saw that. My girlfriend was like, "I'm not gonna ask."
Oh man, I love that picture. But I mean, you know, back to Pete. I called him Parsons today almost just because I don't know why. But Larson today, he struggled coming out of the gate. It took him some time to get into his rhythm. But again, you could just see like his little impacts and the little pockets of how he also makes players better and is a connective player, whether it is screening, whether it is coming off of secondary actions. He's probably one of the best lob throwers on the team as a rookie. And that's really impressive. I mean, it says 2 things, but we'll stick with the positive. It's impressive that's, you know, that he's a rookie and he's able to get into these spots and really make it easier for his big man on the roll.
For sure.
And for his big man defensively, like very few times does he get just absolutely dusted or blown by. He's actually sometimes too physical, which is obviously something I love. You know, a very inefficient game from him today. Should have made some of the easy. But I think today they put a lot on his plate offensively and asked him to create, asked him to get into his pull-ups. Like they let him be free and try shit against Marcus Smart and Desmond Bane, where, you know, over half of his minutes came from just against those 2 guys. So him showing out and being able to hold his own, even on one side of the floor, was very important. And obviously once the starters came out and he was up against backups, that's when he really took off. So like perfect. That's what you want from your rookie. A second round pick at the minimum.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I was glad that the summer league guys got so much run against Memphis's ones. real great opportunity for those guys. Like a lot of those guys are going to spend a lot of time in the G League this season. They're not going to be able to get to go against talent like that, like a John Moran, Desmond Bain, Brandon Clark, guys that are legitimate NBA, some of them all-stars, some of them like borderline guys. And they held their own, man. That like they're, obviously the Memphis, that lineup data is not going to be pretty for them, but they fought back. They made runs of their own. They got stops. They weren't backing down. They made plays. Isaiah Stevens was super impressive, getting pressured, getting hedged again off the pick and roll, and still hanging on. That one lob he threw to over the backboard to Ware.
Yeah,
oh my God, that was gorgeous. And let's get right into Kelle, man, because the box score isn't pretty. It's a 7 for 17, 16 shots, 16 points. 7 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 blocks, 1 assist, no turnovers. That part is what was great. Three fouls in 28 minutes is great. And I felt like he was physical. He fought back against Edey. He fought back against Clark. And there were 2 very different like prototypes he's going against there. And he did a very fair job. Like obviously inefficient shooting, but he did his job. He got to the line a few times, was strong, didn't turn the ball over, finished in traffic. I thought there was a lot to like from him.
Yeah. I mean, after last game, I came out and said that that was his best. In my opinion, that was his best game. He only had played 5 minutes. I think we recorded on Tuesday, the last time we went live. And this might have beat it. I don't care about his inefficiencies. I don't care about his box score stuff, man. Like we know who Kelle Ware is. At least in my opinion, I feel like I know who he is offensively. He's a play finisher who you're hoping can get you a little bit more. That part of his game he did today. He did his job. He did his role on that end. I thought he was better defensively today. That was my biggest takeaway. He got reps with John Morant and Zach Edey running pick and rolls. Granted, Jaw scored, maybe his rotation wasn't great, but he got some of those reps. And at the same time, he got a block. He was able to contain the ball a little bit better. Didn't let him get all the way to the rim on another one. He looks like he's getting it. And that's the best thing I can say. Because, obviously I wasn't very high on the selection. I'm gonna be honest, but from what I've seen so far, like, yeah, man, like he's trending in the right direction. Still not there. I think physically he needs some time. Not the best rebounder, just due to like the physicality and the boxing out and stuff like that. But definitely trending in the right direction. Frankie, what'd you think?
For sure. And like you said about getting stronger, shout out to our guy Eternal, who's covering the game for 5 Reasons Sports today. But he asked Spo a question on Kelle's progress, and Spo told him that Kelle's already gained 10 pounds, and that's big. We saw how much that weight gain was for Niko. Yep. His first year, that leaps and bounds difference. And I think for Ware, we're going to be. We want to see flashes, and games like today, great opportunity to get a lot of playing time, and against this was really like one of his few matches since he's been with the Heat in summer league and preseason that he's actually gone against like NBA level guys. He's battled against a lot of G League guys, because even when they played against Memphis in the summer league finals, Edey didn't play.
Correct.
And it's a lot of bottom of the roster guys, and he's done his job. He's dominated those matchups. That's exactly what he should be doing. He's done a great job, and he's improved. I think from the first summer league game to like now, he's improved a lot.
100% screening and defensively. In particular.
His pick and roll on the drops, his contains a lot better. He's getting better on the angles. But yeah, he's still very skinny, and that's going to be a long-term process. But hearing that he's gained 10 pounds is great. I was really concerned about his discipline coming like as the pick, because he's likely going to be the third backup. Right now, Spo has him as the fourth backup. I don't know why. I don't know how long. It could be just a motivational thing as well. Like hey Ben, you gotta work.
And I think it's not for any stretch of the imagination has Thomas Bryant been good, but he's an 8-year vet.
That.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. But he's an 8-year vet, and Kelle's a rookie, so it's kind of some of like earn your spot. And honestly, I think it's better for Kelle to start getting his feet wet. Like you said, his best matchup since the summer league was Nemias Queta against the Celtics, and that was his worst game in the summer league. He looked really, really bad that game. So compared to the rest of his summer league performances. So, the progress, like you said, from then till now, in parts, I love that you mentioned it. His footwork on contains and pick and rolls has gotten so much better, man. Like, I know we're getting kind of ball junky here, but like real talk, like it's the biggest improvement. His feet in college, I know it's Halloween, dude, but that shit was scary. Like he was frightened. He was
He
panicky.
looked like Bambi sometimes.
Yeah, just lost out there. But his feet have gotten a lot better.
Yeah.
Now he's obviously he has tremendous length and he's covers a lot of ground vertically. So, but just little things like that, little fixes, and he's getting better. Like he's getting better, which is 10 pounds is impressive. I wonder how much more he can put on while being able to sustain his athleticism. And what makes him. What made him the pick was his athleticism.
Right. He's like 190 pounds now. Like, that's great. No, I'm just kidding. No, but we've seen skinny bigs like be impactful. Like, look at Chet. For one, Chet's a better, like more fluid athlete in the half court,
100%.
especially better at laterally and side to side, has better footwork. But just for the weight example and the strength example, but we also saw what kind of issues he had rebounding and OKC did because of that. So long term, we want to see Ware continue to grow and develop and put that weight on. But like, love the finishes, love how aggressive he is in traffic, trying to dunk on things. That reminded me of young Whiteside when and young Bam and Bam last season too. Bam started at the end of the last season was like, fuck this, fuck trying to lay this in. I'm gonna dunk on people again. And we love that. But let's wrap this up pretty soon here. So let's get into some of the other guys. Highsmith had a nice stretch to start the game. Drew was Highsmith. Man, Highsmith came out looking like a shooter. I was like, yo, who is this guy? Came out aggressive. Really good minutes from him. Anything you want to note on Highsmith or Drew? I guess.
No. In terms of Highsmith, he came out shooting willingly, aggressively, hunting for his shot. He got 5 threes off.
He looks slimmer to me. Does he?
I think it's true. I think it's because so much depth has been given to the 4 and 5 room. Realistically, that we needed somebody to guard guards. Like we had no point of attack defenders, and he was on jaw early, and then like him and Drew were switching in and out of that matchup. So he does look a little bit lighter, but his shot looks better. And as for Drew
He's
Smith,
flying in the half court in transition, bro. Sorry to cut you off, but he's catching those hit aheads and he's going to the rim strong and he's moving out there. And I love to see it. Like it's nice to see the explosiveness from him.
Yeah, and just like his player development too, from literally being an absolute non-shooter when he first got here to being a pretty reliable option on most nights. Last year he shot over 40% from the corners from 3, so that's a good trend in the right direction. I thought Drew Smith, in general for this preseason, I thought he's looked pretty good, at least defensively.
I got nauseous when you said that.
Oh man, I'm sorry. But no, like I love Isaiah Stevens. Like I even tweeted it. But next to higher usage players, Drew Smith has a certified role. And it's defense, and he's been playmaking on that end of the floor more than probably just about anybody in out of the whole Heat roster. Like he's been a playmaker defensively. That's what's going to help him stick. He's obviously not a point guard, but if I think he earned this 2-way spot at least for the time being. They can swap those guys out whenever, but they don't have a point guard. They don't really, like we just stated, like their best point of attack defender prior to Drew Smith showing out was Haywood Highsmith, and like. Aside from him, it's nobody. They didn't have somebody to fill this void, and he's been very good. He's been very solid. I don't want to say good. He's been very solid, and that's probably more than what most people would have anticipated, myself included.
Yeah, I mean, I've never had any doubts about him defensively. I think I don't think anybody could have doubts of him defensively. He's arguably the best point of attack defender. I have Highsmith, but you and Bond like Drew more. It's just offensively for me. I think it's point guard is an offensive position in my opinion, and he is offensive to the position.
Yeah, he is.
On that end, he shot 30% from the field for the preseason. But defensively, as your 15th man, like your developmental guy, he's not a bad option. Like, you need to stop. He moves the ball well. He does a great job running the pick and roll, finding his guys. He doesn't take a lot of bad shots. He doesn't force the issue. But I just think he's not worth the development, because I think you can only get so much with a point guard that can't create separation, can't shoot the shit out of the ball. You need to have some kind of tool offensively, and he's about to be 27 in 2 months. He's Thomas Bryant's age. Like, I prefer to give the time to get a veteran, but that's their they have a lot of ball handlers anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But anyways, let's get into the rest of the guys, the G League guys: Kashad Johnson, Josh Christopher, Isaiah Stevens. Let's talk about them first, and then we'll wrap up with Nasir Little.
Man, Kashad is just fun. Like, the definition of effort, he brings it. He 100% brings it. You can tell some of his limitations. Well, honestly, almost his entire limitation is just the shooting, but he's letting him fly, and I want him to, because his whole, like, the whole selling point. You were huge on him, and I was a really big fan too. Like, his whole selling point is, if you can develop this shot, he does a lot of other things well that fit in this system, and we can tell. Like, he runs the floor so good. He puts constant pressure on the rim. He looks to dunk literally everything, which is great. And defensively, he's an impact playmaker. He has wingspan. He recovers well. He's in lanes. He's in gaps. He's very smart, like, aware spatially.
Yeah,
which is a foreshadow for
because I think one of the things that drew me to him, because he's definitely like the size of a 3 or a 4, probably more of a small ball 4. And that's pretty much exclusively what he's played. Besides, like, I think one summer league game he closed at the 5. But I see the potential for him to be a small ball 5 at lineups. He is spatially aware, unlike somebody we're going to talk about at the 4. So you can play him with a big, and even if the shot's not falling, he cuts. He knows where to cut. He sets good screens. He had a nice attack at the basket on a slip on the short roll, and got the and one there, but smoked the free throw. Of course, I swear every time he's gotten an and one, he's missed a free throw, and it pisses me off. But I love watching him play. His hustle. I'm sure he's a fucking SPO favorite already.
Yeah, even when I went to go watch him, like, for the very first summer league game that they played, and they were shooting around, he was trying so much harder than everybody. Like, his energy is contagious. And at the very minimum, them taking a shot at an athlete who is that impact of a defender, that spatially aware, has some kind of, like, you might be able to turn him into a small ball 5. Like, we saw them go up against Brandon Clark today. If he could get something towards that tier, obviously they're different players, but there is a possibility of him doing that. So it is quite impressive. For
sure. And, we've talked a lot about Isaiah Stevens. All summer league, we've loved the guy. Just a dynamic playmaker, man. Yeah, like, he still has, like, lapses where you see that he needs to mature a little bit. Like, there's ticks of the speed is a little too much for him at times, but there's also a lot of potential times where he's getting doubled off the screen and he's handling it and seeing the right pass, finding the hole, finding the weak side pass, and making on the money pass to that player. And we saw it with the lob over the backboard to Ware. We saw it. He had another one where he skipped it to the weak side corner, and I'm like, dude, like, this is our point guard right here of the future. Like, if this guy can do what Caleb Daniels did, which only sickos would know who Caleb Daniels is. Shout out to you guys. But that weight gain from year 1 in the Skyforce program to year 2, and just being a more of a bully, bowling ball kind of build, because he's 6 feet in shoes, 6'4" wingspan, 182 at the combine. Got to get that, like, 15 pounds of muscle right there, just so he can hold his own. But, like, offensively, man, you see a lot of flashes. And we were talking a little bit about it. He's got to learn a little bit more off-ball stuff, but he's already a dynamic shooter. 40% from three for his career in college, 80, I think it was like 90% from the line or close to it.
Yep.
He was just an elite shooter, and just more maturity. I think the Skyforce is going to be a tremendous opportunity for him to grow.
Yeah, they're going to be a sensational team. I think if Stevens was 6'3", he would have the standard contract. Like he would be the other two-way guy, or he would be somewhere else on a standard, because he's just that impactful offensively. I think his thing isn't even so much the processing. I think he has that down. I just think it's him not being used to like the length and athleticism of the NBA, and he's trying to fit passes that he could in college sometimes, and the window is just that much smaller or that much closer, and he just can't do it. But aside from that, man, offensively, we talk about Kelle Ware, and we talk about how good he's looked. A large majority of this offensively is thanks to guys like Drew Smith. I mean, not Drew Smith. Ah, Jesus Christ. Cut that out. I was reading Drew Smith. It's thanks to Isaiah Stevens. Like, he's made him look good several times. He hits him on the roll. It's timely. Shout out Josh Christopher, too, because he's done a good job of finding specific Kelle. He hasn't done a good job of being point guard whatsoever. But in terms of finding the roll man and cutters, he's been okay. And Stevens, hopefully they can sneak him in and convert him when it's time to do so, because convert him to a two-way once they convert a two-way to a standard, because he's a fun project to have, and he's unlike anything that they have on the roster right now.
For sure. Yeah, or in the pipeline. They have a lot of guys who are trying to get better at being on the ball, playmakers like Josh Christopher, but Josh is more of a two. Like Stevens is a natural one. Like Cooper Moorhead said it today, exactly what you were talking about. Every time you watch him, Isaiah Stevens is making somebody else look good. And that's what he's done for Kashad, Josh, Pele, Kelle. And credit to them. They have to play their roles as well and finish the shots, finish possessions, be in the right spots. But Stevens is like the fucking maestro with that team, with that group. And, it's been really fun to watch. Like, I don't remember a summer league team that's carried over like this and been this much fun in a while. And I've enjoyed it, man. I might actually tune into the Skyforce this year. That's crazy. Lastly, let's talk about the vet who's been fighting for his spot the last couple games, trying to fight and find a place in the league. Nasir Little had a pretty strong game, 15 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 of 5 from 3, which is big. That's a big swing skill from him. What did you think of Nasir today?
I think the stat sheet does him a lot of favors. He defensively, you can tell like the tools, the athletic tools, the strength, the wingspan is there. Offensively, he's a mess, man. Like, realistically, when the shot falls, you say hallelujah, but that's just about it. He's so tough to, like, he just doesn't know where to be sometimes, and he runs into people and he bumps into people, and when he drives, he doesn't go around people. He tries to go through people. But with that being said, he's still an athlete. He fits what this team is trying to do. And if you can just hone that in, and you can get his three-pointer to work and make him sit in a corner and crash for rebounds and be the weak side guy and cut back door and get lobs or easy layups, you might have something. I don't think he's going to stick. I don't think he should stick on this roster. Not right now, at least. But, if they're able to get him into the G and put their, he was a former 5-star less than 5 years ago. He's younger than Drew Smith. That's going to be our thing the entire season is he's younger than Drew. But he's like 24, 25 years old. You take a chance on somebody like that. If it works out, cool. And if it doesn't, you tried, kind of like they did with RJ Hampton last year.
Yeah, man. It's cool, man. I wasn't a fan of his either. Like you said, his spatial awareness is poor. He was bumping into Ware a few times. I could tell Ware was getting a little annoyed at him. Ware's just used to playing with Kashad, and Kashad and him have great chemistry, and they know where each other are, where they should be. And that was rough. I also did want to talk about Zion Pullen a little bit, just to wrap that up. But Nasir, like, I could see the potential, and there's a lot of like raw stuff to mold. And like if he's willing to stick in the G, and let the Skyforce like help him develop. Like I think that's great, but yeah, man, like other than that, I don't think a spot on the rosters right now for would be for him.
No, yeah. I agree.
But Zion pulling like I have not been a fan of him since the summer league. I will say I do like him more than I did Caleb Daniels last year, and I didn't like Caleb Daniels at all last year. I loved him this summer league.
I agree.
Just the growth and what he brought to the table. I don't think he's I thought he was like way behind all the other guys still, but like what he brought consistently to the table. And if Zion has more to start from that end, bigger body as well. What do you see from Zion? And what do you think their plan is for him?
Their plan is to get him some reps at point guard and maybe even some off ball reps if they can get Stevens down there, so they can see what modes, like what fits him best. Because like you said, he really struggled. I think his processor offensively is not that great in the half court, and neither are his handles to get all the way to the rim. But he does have a good frame, and he is well rounded, very similar to like to Daniels last year, who was a guy who just likes to operate in the mid range and was more of a stronger guy for his position. Pullen's kind of in the same tier, where you don't really know what he does, but he's very unique physically. Today he played decent in the last stretch of the game after having a rough start, but it's just, can they get any production out of him? I will say though, this is by far like the best quote unquote farm system that he have had in a long time. Like the amount of young guys that they have like on their main roster, through their two ways, through their G League guys, like they have a pipeline. Like Caleb's in the G. We're gonna have Pullen in the G. We're gonna have Warren Washington in the G. Like these guys are decent enough that maybe at some point they get converted to back end, roster rotation guys or even two ways at some point. So it's fucking fun, man. Like the team is fun again, finally.
Absolutely. And I want to say most of the preseason, the summer league guys were more fun to watch than the actual starters or rotation guys. Definitely more fun than the second unit. The first unit was probably more fun because we were all surprised that they're actually looking like an NBA modern offense and aggressive defense. But the preseason is over. The regular season is finally here. We're gonna do a couple shows. We haven't talked about it yet, or announced when we're gonna do some shows, but we're gonna get you guys ready for the actual predictions and season preview right before the season starts. Yeah, all the fun stuff. First game is Wednesday night against the Orlando Magic, because it's every year is like the Orlando Magic. Almost every year, I feel like we're playing the Magic or the Pistons.
Yeah, I was gonna say Magic and the Pistons. Every year we play them 3 out of the first 5 games. It feels like holy
exactly.
shit.
But this is a tough start to the season. It starts 4 of the first 5 are it's Orlando, Charlotte, Detroit, Washington. But you also have New York, and a bunch of West Coast teams there. 4 straight West Coast teams after that Washington game. So pretty those first 10 games, like that's going to dictate a lot of what kind of team this is. And I'm excited, man. Like I was not excited last year at all. That those first couple games, the process, I was not excited. This time the team actually said, hey, insanity is doing the same thing over and expecting different results. Let's switch it up, man. Let's switch it up. And that summer with Team USA, all those other coaches, shout out to Coach Kerr, and was Lou was out on the staff too, right? I believe.
I think Ty Lue was on.
Yeah, I think you have 2 of the probably 3 best coaches in Lou and Spo there, and Kerr is a top 10 coach. And like they get to work with each other, balance each other. And you got a whole bunch of other like basketball minds, like Steph and LeBron, KD, like being around that, like that's definitely helped Spo and Bam see the importance of spacing and playing in the future in the modern day. They were stuck in 2004 and no more for this Heat offense. I'm very happy to see this preseason end though. I am excited for the final roster stuff. Get ready to go. Lou, anything you want to say about the preseason?
No, man, it was actually fun to watch. This team has brought me back in. It does it again. It does it somehow all the time. Yeah, we're just suckers for basketball, it feels like. So I'm excited to see how this continues into the regular season, what they do. And I think the next important date is tomorrow. We get the roster cut, so we should have the final roster by tomorrow. So stay tuned.
Absolutely. And we will, G's on vacation, but the rest of us are slaves to the corporation and mindset that is capitalism. And we will be doing shows and performing like little stage monkeys for you guys, because we love you guys, because we are sickos too, and we love you guys. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. Carla Tiana wants to ask predictions on the cuts. That is tough. Real quick, let's go. You want to go through it real quick?
Yeah, let's go.
All right,
Zion pulling cut.
Bam Adebayo out of here. Get him out of here.
Who is that guy?
No, I think pulling. Let's see. They got to get to 14 pretty much. It's Jimmy, Bam, Tyler safe, Terry, Duncan safe. I think Nazir's out of here.
Nasir's gone.
Haywood, Kelle, Kevin, Jaime.
Pullen's gone. I think Stevens is not getting the third two-way spot. I think they're staying with their 3 2-ways.
Yeah,
and they're hoping their G League team capacity contains Stevens, Pullen, Caleb, Caleb Daniels, who they already cut, Warren Washington, and Nasir Little if he wants to play in the G.
Yeah,
like, that's probably. I don't think anything's gonna be shocking tomorrow. I think they like who they like, and this is gonna be their team going into the year.
Yeah, it's all about trying to make sure Stevens and Christopher stay. That's the toughest part for tomorrow. But I think if they lost Christopher, I'd be disappointed, but I wouldn't be upset. But
you're saying if they give Stevens the 2-way instead of Christopher?
Yeah, I would prefer that.
Oh, curious. That's gonna be. I think Christopher deserves it, but I wouldn't be opposed. Yeah, I just think you might be able to sneak Isaiah. I don't think if you cut Christopher, I think he's gone. If you cut Christopher, somebody will give him a 2-way or some kind of standard contract elsewhere.
I would rather protect Stevens, but I see what you're saying. Fair. That's fair. You could do some negotiations on the side, and you probably have more. They have more background.
Just give Stevens more money to play in the G. Can they do that? I wonder. Probably and just not. Be like, look, buddy, January comes around, you're getting the 2-way.
100%. All right, we are out of here. Good night.
It feels like the draft.
Draftbeat, draftbeat, draftbeat,
And before the
draftbeat,
season.
draftbeat, 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 draftbeat,
Draft, draft, draft.
draftbeat, draftbeat.
Drew can't dribble.